everything's in the blue folder.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
what?
I put you.
It put me where I'm supposed to be. No, I just figured there's plenty of room.
Okay,
Is
we
all
ready?
folders for the public?
No.
That's Harold's folder, sorry.
Where's the public,
Here, it's right here. Here. You'll see, like I said, there's nothing much on there.
Are we ready?
on Broadway?
Go for it.
Adequate notice of the meeting has been provided in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10-3-6, and published in the Asbury Park Press on January 10th, 2017.
Thanks, Kate. Roll call, please.
Mayor Coles?
Here.
Let the record reflect that Deputy Mayor Miller is absent, as well as Committeeman Lichtenstein, Committeeman Ackerman,
Here.
Committeeman DeLeo.
Here.
Thanks, Kate. Tom?
All right, first on the agenda, let's go down to property request D. We have a property request for a piece of property.
No. This is gonna be needed for the rising of the returns and stuff.
Okay, okay.
No.
Here you are, sir.
Okay, Mike, I just read, no, thinking not right now.
Okay.
All right, next on the list is,
Who requested this?
I don't know, right?
This is looking like our engineering department suggested that we sell it because we don't have a use for it.
That's what I was gonna say, like, it's weird that they,
Why are they doing that?
it's weird that they didn't
Since
pick up
when
on
do
it.
they do that?
Yeah, I'll get some. Here.
On last, I can see what they did.
Here.
Oh, no.
River Avenue is fine? Nah,
Just make sure you shut the door out when you leave, because it bounces
Okay.
out.
Find out why they're coming to us with suggestions to sell property,
Well, no, it's someone, they did, someone requested it.
not according to this.
Someone requested
it
it.
says as per your request.
Yeah.
Whose request was
Yeah,
it?
I gotta find out I'll get it from Cindy tomorrow,
All right.
all right? Yeah, it wasn't from them.
That's gonna be needed for the widening and the
Okay.
turn lanes.
Okay.
I would,
But yeah, it wasn't from them, they don't ever request to sell property.
Okay.
Next is, we sent out RFPs to see who we wanted to get the price for, doing the design work and, the construction phases for Route 9 and Broadway. We received two RFPs back quotes, and the cheapest one was from R&B.
What were the prices and who were the respondents?
major one.
Yeah, Major and Remington and Brown. R&B was 165,000. And Major's 166,000.
Ellen, do we have a,
No, I mean, nothing wrong with Remington Burnick, they've been finishing projects, they're the lowest bid. And qualified.
I have no problem at all. I mean, they had been working with us and they get their work done
we
on
cleared
time.
up the question about whether or not the state's gonna allow us to proceed, or if they're gonna accept all this work.
Well, that's the first thing they're gonna do is, whoever guy is contact the state to make sure we can move forward with this, and they're backing us, and they're gonna come up with
All
some
right,
money,
before they really put together.
the whole thing.
Awesome, good. All right, then I think it's Remington and Burke. Does anybody have anything else they wanna add to the, agenda for tonight? Then I'll open to the floor.
Yes,
You have anything on your mind?
yes.
We wanna talk about these two resolutions we're gonna do for the floor.
Yeah, we'll do that. I was just saying, if you have something you'd like to throw on the floor, you have a few minutes, so.
Yeah. Guess I don't have to speak downstairs.
I should have thought about this in January.
Okay, one issue. is with having marked crosswalks. Not talking about crosswalks, I'm talking about marked. I went around in town. I think there's almost 90% of the roads are not marked. And there's accidents happening now with pedestrians being hit, not crossing by the crosswalks, but it's not marked. So, you can't blame somebody of crossing where they're not supposed to, because even when they are supposed to cross, nothing is marked.
No policy of why happen.
I asked the engineering department about it, because all the new developments, they don't put in marked, the crosswalks are not marked. And they told me there's no requirement unless if the township tells them to do it. So I just think it's not expensive thing for the developers to do it. It's not an expensive thing for the township to do it, and it's a safety issue. I think I emailed you in the past about it, and maybe my email was not so a diplomatic email when I sent it, so I didn't get a response. But it's still an issue.
Guys, what do you think?
I
Then
think
we
you should
wanna
talk to
add
Pat.
the,
Talk to Pat.
No, but we can go ahead and do them, but what the question is, should we have it required,
Builders?
the planning board or zoning
I
board
don't
process?
think it would be a bad idea. I don't think it would be a bad idea.
Definitely a good idea for new, yeah, and we could look into what else
I
to
think it'd
do,
be great.
to do the rest of town. But I definitely think it would be a great idea. Would you talk to the engineering department, tell them that the committee would like all new development that's being approved to have the requirement of having marked out crosswalks in the street for pedestrian traffic? And then, if you could talk to the chief or Frank Work, and just see if there is any township, requirement that crosswalks be marked. And if not, ask them what they think the appropriate mechanism would be to, put more in place, where we should put them in, what height, stuff like that.
There's a lot of them that was once upon a time marked, and it's not there anymore.
And that's a third part, I guess, is, this summer we spent a lot of time and effort marking and painting all the curbs and stuff. I think we have the striping machine now, so
Yeah, we
maybe,
do.
maybe we could ask Pat to, do an inventory of crosswalks and stuff that we're responsible for, and get a schedule going to get them remarked. And then if any of the roads are the responsibility of, say, the county or the state, just to inventory them, and then we'll forward that information out to them.
Okay.
They just restriped that parking lot, so I know they do.
Yeah, we do have we bought a striping machine last year, I think.
Yeah, we did.
Can I bring up one more issue? The second issue is with the vacating the streets. My objection to it. I'm very, there might be some good reasoning behind some of them, but in general, it looks bad that the township is vacating streets after this mess that we're having with traffic. There's one issue that was not so stressed. People are busy that streets you need for driving through streets. Any high-density development, you can't pass through cars because people park off-street parking. There's not enough parking for parkings per unit, or even general people park on the off-street when there's a synagogue or in a basement or there's an event. It becomes clogged and you can't go through. That's the reason why when you vacate streets or you eliminate streets when a high-density development, you need more the off-street parking, even if you don't need it for through traffic. One example is Oak Street corridor. You're going to vacate those streets, do whatever you want with that, and whatever reason it is, but you're eliminating in a high-density development, you're eliminating the off-street parking because these side streets don't have front units. So all of it would have been able to use it for overflow parking. People shouldn't park on Broadway. I'm just bringing a point of view that not only vacating streets hurts the cross traffic, it hurts the off-street parking. And when it's a development that is single-family homes and there's enough off-street parking, it wouldn't be such a concern. But when you have a high-density development like Oak Street Corridor, or the second one that you're doing today, you're doing by Evergreen.
Yeah, June and Ferry Street.
June and Ferry Street. I looked at when this came up in the planning board, I looked at the plans. The plans they're opening up Evergreen till like 3/4 of the way, and they would have had these two streets going in, and it wouldn't have been a cul-de-sac. They had like in the back another road, it was like 18 feet, whatever, not the full RIS, but to turn around. So now what you're having is, you're telling the guy is, okay, you're doing a cul-de-sac, and we're going to eliminate those streets, and when technically they're going to ask for a waiver not to develop evergreen, that your engineer told you, the township engineer told you that that shouldn't be vacated. If that shouldn't be vacated, it means is they want that street from Lucas to Route 70 to be open. I know that state will not allow to have a full light over there, but might be a right in, right out to alleviate a little bit traffic. It would have helped the whole situation. So
Yeah, we're not doing anything with evergreen.
Well, let me, yeah,
I understand. I actually studied the plan when it was presented to the planning board in the past, so I saw what was going on. So I feel this is a typical example that you're creating a cul-de-sac. I know the seniors are, I'm going to call them selfish because that's my language that I put to people, is they don't want that access over there. They don't want evergreen approved. That's the reason why everybody is happy. The developer gets more land because he has more land land ratio to use for the development. And he then creates, after that, he creates the street. So he doesn't, the paper streets he cannot use. So you're getting that vacated, he's able, so yes, you're making a cul-de-sac that it eventually would be able to open up to evergreen, but the way the plan was beforehand, he was going to develop it. So eventually the township cost would have been much less to develop it when the township decides that it's needed. Another thing that I have an issue is he would have been creating, now he's creating one street, and then he would have created four. Four would have had much more off-street parking if needed. Now, anything that it's going to be overflowing from that cul-de-sac is going to overflow on Lucas, that it's getting more and more busier by the day. So again, this is another example that you're eliminating off-street parking and the developer is getting more land, plus he has to develop less roads. Again, I feel good for him, but by the end of the game is, and good for the seniors, but by the end of the game is, you'll have to look and down the road that this street had a right-of-way to be developed for the whole Lakewood and not just for the seniors there or whoever is going to live there. Just my point of view.
I appreciate that. The Oak Street Corridor Ordinance, I'm actually gonna ask everybody to hold tonight or to kill tonight, because the gentleman who came up to us about the parks that could go over there had a point, and we're gonna require that it be all passive recreation, that you can't have the playgrounds and stuff. But I hadn't looked at it from your point of view, so I wanna look at more,
Off-street parking.
the parking requirements, so it makes a lot of sense. The other one with Ferry and June, the cul-de-sac, and I know people make promises, is a temporary cul-de-sac, because that street will continue down, and I forget the name of the street, maybe it's June or Ferry, that continues out towards Vermont, is in the process of being developed too, so that cul-de-sac will actually continue down and then go out.
We'll open up to evergreen. That's how the plan is.
From, is it Locust? Up.
Evergreen goes from Locust, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing it right, to Route 70.
Right, it's in front of you.
So that's and eventually it's going to, let me put it to this way, as it is now, if he goes to the planning board, as your law states now, he has to develop evergreen. He has to, because the law is that you have to develop all surrounding streets. Trust me, he's coming to the planning board, he's getting that waiver from developing it. Because the seniors are going to come out and say.
Well, yeah, I mean, they wanted to maintain a buffer between and to keep cross-traffic.
So you're helping them, giving them that waiver. If you wouldn't have vacated those streets, they would have had to develop it. Now, we don't know what the planning board will do, but most likely if the neighbors of the seniors are going to come out and complain about that it shouldn't be developed, they'll get a waiver. Just giving you the...
Thank you. Anybody else? Thanks. I guess then we're ready for closed session. We will not be discussing any more business if we come out of closed session before 7:30.
Oh, this is going to close. Yeah. So I gave everybody infrastructure information, draft stuff. I need to know as soon as I can what we want to do so I can finalize it. All right?
Okay. Thank you.
I'll motion closed session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we'll be doing what, Contracts?
Contract.
You have 2 closed sessions on the agenda.
That's on there in case when we go downstairs, there's a need to go back into closed session.
They're both contractual.
If you're talking about the 2 items that are listed on this, they're both contracts we need to discuss. If
Yeah, yeah.
what he's saying is that we need to go back into closed, you have to have them.
Listed on the
You have to list it on the agenda.
Just in case,
You know,
we never go
I'm
back.
just leaving. Why don't you have like 7:30 on the list if you're going to do it before 5:30? I mentioned
That's
it.
not my agenda.
That's my agenda.
That's
No, I'm
not-
talking about the regular agenda. It says 7:30 and trap, and closed session starts 7:30. If it's on the agenda, it should have said on top, starting 6:30. I'm just
You want it
mentioning.
down- You want it down in further down the agenda, is that what you're saying?
No.
I understand what he's saying, it's just that it's on the 7:30 agenda for closed session, but we're holding a closed session up here at 6:30.
Right.
Prior to.
I'm just. It's always was like that. I'm just. It looks like a little bit misleading. That's the reason why.
It probably doesn't need to be on the agenda downstairs, since we're doing it up here as part of the conference meeting, which is advertised and whatnot. But it's one of those things that's been on the whole time I've been on the committee.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
when I first started here, we did go back into closed session an awful lot. Remember
We
those
did,
nights,
you
Steve?
know, 23 years ago, and I was 24 years ago, we went into closed session downstairs.
There were nights when they didn't leave here till midnight, it was like being in a planning board meeting.
Okay. Thank you. No food today.
Nope, nope, not that I know of, I didn't order any, I never do.
Not enough people